Hello, I'm Patricia Sigmund. I'm here today to talk with the amazing and trailblazing Pat Schroeder, who's going to share with us memorabilia from her decades in politics and her insights about women in politics. When you were running, you had mentioned that you had to cut your own trail. You didn't have the party support, so to speak. Talk to me about how you got your message out during the general election, and what you did that was maybe unconventional at the time.
Well, first of all, we had no money. And you know, how much of your own money you're going to throw into this thing that everybody tells you you're a loser. So, you know, we said, okay, well, we'll spend what people give us, but we're not going to go bankrupt trying to play this game. So we got paper to make posters. Luckily, young people got so excited about them that they started showing up all over Denver. People kept getting these posters out. We made little postcards and asked people to please mail them to 5 of their friends, and they had to float the postage. We had lots of coffees, lots of meet and greets, lots of things like that. You know, luckily it was in a city, and that way you could have a lot more visibility. We would walk down the main street of the downtown carrying a sign. People would say, oh my God, it's just not very. And I'd say, look, I want them to know who I am. If they want to talk to me, I'm here. And it was not exactly your traditional campaign in any way, shape, or form.
And you sat at the kitchen table and created messaging and posters, right, with photographs that were not of you necessarily.
That's right.
Talk about that.
You know, well, people would say to me, who's doing your media? And I'd say, kitchen table media. That's what we call ourselves, because, you know, friends would come over and we barnstormed about what it was we really thought needed to be discussed in Colorado. And I was very much an anti-war candidate, so we took pictures of the military cemetery with a bird flying over it and put those out on the posters that said, yes, many of our troops have been withdrawn. I mean, it was a heavy hit piece. And then the back was the whole, you know, we wrote what I felt about it. The Olympics were coming and it was on the ballot, and so we found an elderly lady walking down the street of Denver, and under that we said, cheer up, the Olympics are coming, you know, because it was going to cost a fortune and our taxes were going to go to the ceiling. And that really got to people. And then we saw a migrant child sitting out there that people don't talk about. We had a lot of migrant children sitting under a crucifix, and we said, this radical troublemaker wants something from you, hope. And so we put those out, and as I say, people started plastering them up all sorts of places they probably shouldn't have. But that was certainly better than a picture of me. They were much more interested. And I remember the powers that be in D.C. went, oh, these have gone out. Oh, this is terrible. You're supposed to have a picture of you with your family, you know, on a bike to show that you like the environment, with a police officer to show, you know. And I was like, yeah, well, no, we don't have that.
So you bucked all of the conventional wisdom about how you get your message out and what it looks like, and you won.
And we won, yeah.
And do you think that your kind of go for broke style, your not worrying about doing everything the right way that people normally did it, but just going with your gut, do you think it made a difference?
I think it made a lot of difference. First of all, to be honest, I wasn't harassed that much because they just all figured there's no hope. I mean, what, 31-year-old with 2 small children? No. And I made great mistakes. My classic was, I have real trouble with people asking me silly questions. And when about the 50th time, some reporter said to me, "How can you be a congresswoman and a mother?" I said, "I have a brain and a uterus and they both work." And it was on the front page of the paper, above the fold, So, I mean, people were just shocked that we got to keep remembering this is 1972. My mother was going to, cut off her subscription to the paper because she was sure her daughter would never say that. I mean, it was awful. But there were many incidents like that. And so in a way, I wasn't harassed by the powers that be too much. I think they just kind of figured, look, this is a lost cause, so how much time are we going to spend here?
And you talked in your posters about the people, about putting the people first, about serving the people, about when she wins, we win. What was the impact of that, and what kind of difficulties did that, at the time, unusual message cause for you?
Well, the "She Wins, We Win" motto, which was the motto of our campaign, the FBI was sure was communist. And so, as I found out many months later when I finally got my FBI file, they hired someone to break into our house. They hired my husband's barber. They hired all sorts of people to monitor what was going on with this crazy woman. They didn't like the peace sign. They said it was a chicken, what sign. And they said I wore those kind of pins, and the "She Wins, We Win" was clearly communist, and it was insane. They even put a thing on our phone. And I said, I think it's wonderful to think of some highly paid federal employee listening to my son call and said, "She hit me first." No. Really some fascinating conversations they must have had.
And you found out from a news report that they had been breaking into your house, right?
We had multiple break-ins. And after I got elected, obviously we got the Denver Post in the papers every day. And one day on the front page of the paper was this story about how they had arrested this Timothy Redfern, I'll never forget his name, breaking into houses in Denver. And he said, "You can't arrest me because I work for the FBI. I'm the one that breaks into the Schroeder house." Well, isn't that interesting? And that's when I applied for my FBI file. And when I got it, it was fascinating because the stuff he had stolen was all the stuff that you could have walked into my campaign office and I'd handed it to you. "She wins, we win." Yeah, you don't need to steal. I belong to the League of Women Voters. Oh my goodness. The Vietnam veterans against the war. Oh, I mean, I was a horrible person.